So thanks for tuning in. Just a quick update that the full episodes of the Rant Cafe podcast can be found for free on Spotify, which is linked in the description below. But for now, let's just jump into the meat and potatoes of this highlight.
Well, let me ask this. Whose idea was it to do a podcast about this anime in particular? Which one of you made me watch this?
Nux, of course.
Made you watch this? Dude,
Oh
I
my
gave
God.
you the honor of watching one of the greatest shows of the generation.
I think my goal for this podcast will be figuring out if you guys like this ironically or unironically.
I think it started ironically for most of us, and then we just transcended, you know? And now we all love it unironically. I can't speak for my other two co-hosts, of course, but honestly, it's actually so good. And it was a meme that it was like anime of the year, but low-key, not that much has come out that could be better than it. So, since you're the virgin, Jimmy, why don't you start off by just saying what the series is about?
Oh boy, okay. Now I like the premise. I think the premise is a lot of fun. It takes place in sort of a Tolkien-esque world with all these different creatures. You got, your elves and your monsters and warlocks and all these things. And the idea is there's a brave group of adventurers who want to boldly quest. And instead of Pokemon, where you're going to go catch them all, they want to go fuck them all. They want to rank and review every single species and see who gives the best fuck. Is it going to be an elf? Is it going to be an old lady grandma? Is it going to be a demon? Who knows? Who can say? Only these reviewers will enlighten all of us.
Yeah, that's the premise. So at face value, it's hilarious. And you're like, what is this meme of a show? But then you watch it, and it's hella entertaining. Enough so that I would love to rewatch it with the boys anytime. Animac Nux, what are your thoughts on the series?
Yo, I am so down.
You want to watch this in the same room as your friends?
Maybe over Discord.
Okay, that's better.
It's a little bit less awkward.
I think I watched the first few episodes with Animac and Noble. We watched them together.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. Like, because this was when I hadn't seen the show at all, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my eyes.
I think, like, maybe we appreciate it more because we're content creators, and the whole idea, like, they're essentially content creators in this fantasy world, reviewing different races in that way. Like,
yeah, the only problem is that whereas we get attacked for reviewing stuff and spoiling it for people, they don't get spoiler complaints.
They want the spoilers. They want
ideal.
all the details. They want to know if it's worth, if the bang is literally worth their buck.
Yo!
By the way, Jawsy, thank you for all the gifted subs and the magical crystals. And we played Among Us together, bro. I remember you.
Madly.
Can we talk about the context of this series? Because I think I hyped it up too much in my own mind in my research, and I found out it was banned from all these different streaming platforms. So I was expecting something truly raunchy and like Boku no Pico next level disgusting. But then it was so tame, I was actually disappointed that they didn't go far enough. Why was this banned from all these different places?
Okay, so here's the thing. Anime genres have this gray area when it comes to ecchi anime. So that's anime that are very, sexually suggestive, but not outright hentai, which is anime porn, right? The thing with interspecies reviewers is that it is pretty much hentai, except it has 12 episodes instead of like 2 or 3.
And also there's no penetration. That's the big one.
No, so
it doesn't show it, but it's
Well, it's implied in many shows that aren't porn.
So
no, the thing about interspecies reviewers is that these ecchi shows that exist, usually they air on TV and they're heavily censored, the nudity and stuff. But then if you buy like the Blu-ray, you can get the uncensored version, and that's how they make their money. But with interspecies reviewers, it just went too far. Like, so the whole plot is just about sexual situations. It is basically a hentai, except it's not as graphic as most hentai, but it's much more suggestive and graphic, and even in the term of plot, than your regular ecchi show.
So, from my opinion, the reason it got banned is because of the plot. At the end of the day, it really is just an ecchi with what they show us. The problem is the plot has to do with sex, and it's the plot that would really be fit for a hentai. But then we have that plot, but they don't show us what's happening, so it's pretty much an ecchi. And it really is just an ecchi anime at the end of the day, but because of the plot and the description and they were scared about the controversy, a lot of platforms dropped it. I don't think if it was showing the same amount of stuff but didn't have that plot, I think it would be fine. I don't think it would be banned.
No, but
it
has actual sex scenes, guys.
But you can't see what's happening. Other shows have
I do
it.
disagree with you. I don't believe that's the reason why it was banned. Because if you look at other things that Funimation licensed, there's a lot of things that straddle the line and that are arguably even raunchier, to use your terminology, that are still around. Like there's that little sister show where the dude literally drinks her breast milk in the first episode, and like
what the
like
fuck?
It's a weird show, but like that's still around on Funimation. I genuinely believe it's because in episode 3 there was a gender change potion, and it just, based on topics that exist and that are controversial in the US, they dropped it for that reason. Funimation was the only place that actually dropped it. If I had to guess, it was based on that.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, that episode was just like magical potions that can change people's genders and all this other stuff, and then it was basically a big game of like, is it gay if we do this? Or is it gay if we do that? I don't know.
You misunderstand. I realize what the show was trying to do, but I do at the same time believe that that was the mindset.
I mean, I just think that it was because it's basically a hentai rather than an heavy ecchi. Because if
It's
basically
really not a hentai.
but so did you watch the censored version?
I watched both.
Either way,
Okay,
way,
so
there
if
are
you've seen
sex scenes that you just can't see what's happening.
Yeah, if
You
you
don't see anything. You
if you've
actually
seen
don't
the-
see penetration.
if you've seen the uncensored version, then you know that if they just added like a few more minutes of the sex scenes, it would be a hentai. And that's what I think they should do, and just do a Blu-ray release and make a ton of money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As an anime normie, I genuinely thought this was hentai because I watched the uncensored version and I figured if this isn't hentai, I want to know what is.
Yeah, so your traditional ecchi, Jimmy, is you have like a plot, like, you know, a bunch of students at a school, or, you know, like a guy who's shy, and, you know, his sister, who's not his real sister, comes home from university or something, and then there's all these like awkward sexual situations, but it doesn't go all the way and show you the whole sex scenes and stuff. I think that the difference here was that the whole plot is they're visiting brothels and they're engaging in sex scenes.
It's an agree to disagree kind of vibe.
I think it's probably multiple variables as to why Funimation took it down. I think like Nux is probably right. They're scared of getting canceled, and episode 3 was a contributing factor. But I think it was just a lot of different variables. They're like, this is just too much. It's got what Nux mentioned and what Animac mentioned, and we're like, all right, it's just not worth keeping up just in case we were to get canceled for some reason.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in seeing the full episode of the Rant Cafe podcast, link is in the description to our Spotify, which is free, by the way. We very much appreciate all the support you guys give us. We also have a link in the description to our Patreon. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to stay weird, fam.